Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the December 20th, 2022 Board of Selectmen meeting, again virtually and in person here at Town Hall. And as usual, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of December 8th, 2022?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of December 8th, 2022?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving right along to the first Selectmen's updates. First, I want to welcome Ken Borsick onto the team. Lots of excitement around town. Got a lot of nice notes about you. Didn't know you had that many friends in town, but you do.
Neither do I.
But anyway, we're happy to have Ken on board. We're going to have a good year and a fun time with Ken, so thank you. Yesterday we honored the Greenwich High School golf team, the state champions, the second one we've done. We'll be doing the football team, waiting for Coach Morello to give us a date in probably early January. But it was a good time yesterday, and they were 15-0 in the regular season and throughout the whole season. And they had even one guy who, I don't know if Joe knows this, but he shot a 30 on the front nine at Greenwich at the Griff, which is a record. Yeah, I told him I get that in my first 3 holes. That's crazy. But anyway, they were very impressive, and it was a fun event. So we're quickly becoming what they used to call in Green Bay, the Green Bay Packers. They used to call it Titletown USA. So we're gonna have to rename Greenwich Titletown CT. So we'll have to brand that. Well, who knows? We're after we do the honor of the football team in January. We're going to have a parade probably in spring where the idea is to see, not just do a calendar year 2022, but do the 2022-2023 scholastic year. And we may pick up another 1 or 2, who knows, and then have a parade at a venue to be determined. So lots of good things to look forward to. Let's see, we had the 4th annual menorah lighting on Greenwich Avenue the other night. It was a Sunday with Rabbi Darren, and it was well attended. Lauren and Janet were there. I think next year I'm going to send them up in that bucket because I don't really like it. Oh God, it's I told Rabbi and Senator Blumenthal, go shorten those speeches. We weren't even that high, but I don't like heights. But it was a great event. It was really nice to see people enjoying themselves, and we're looking forward again to next year. Congratulations to Jay Domasek, who was the Fleet Manager of the Year in Connecticut, our own Jay Domasek. So we're proud of Jay. He came by the other day, and we had a little certificate for him. JT Thompson, our own JT over around the corner, is the Employee of the Month. I may have mentioned that last time. I don't recall, but we want to congratulate JT. And with that, I just want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas, and look forward to a really happy and healthy New Year. And if we can, in addition to what we try to do, the good works for the people of the town of Greenwich, but also pledge to try and change the tone which we see not only in town but all over the state and the country, and to lead by example. And there's a civility pledge that CCM put out. So I was going to try and get to that today and sign it. So I think that should be one of our pledges, is to make sure that we lead by example in a time where it's pretty turbulent out there, but better days are always ahead. So again, happy holidays to all, and turn it over to Lauren.
Thanks, Fred. So Janet and I last week were able to go to Western Connecticut Council of Governments, their legislative lunch. So our state representatives were there, as well as state Senate and state House from all the municipalities that make up Westcog, talked about things that we would like to see legislation on and improvements on to benefit, our area of Connecticut. Transportation, tax relief, housing, energy, environment, health, technology, and regional share approaches. I'm just going to highlight a couple of new concepts that we asked for help on. One is in supporting housing to use the state conveyance tax for affordable housing. Apparently, Greenwich gives about $50 million to the state in that regard. Also incentivize housing through inclusionary zoning so that we can integrate and complement affordable housing within our community. And one of the regional and shared approach concepts that we lobbied for was to allow municipalities to require land use applications to be submitted digitally, as well as expanding the digitalization of building records for property records. There's a whole bunch of things we advocated for, but wanted to highlight those. Thursday, I am on the board of the Connecticut Interlocal Risk Management Agency, CIRMA. So we're going to have our last meeting of the year. And with the holidays, I just wanted to read a little something that they produced. So CIRMA Best Practices Holiday Edition. Except that your Aunt Sylvia's decorative nutcracker has absolutely no utility at all. Return unwanted gifts after your friends and loved ones go home. Set the right expectation when offered a cake that literally has a 1-year shelf life. Unlock superhero status by hoarding a stash of AA batteries. Be the person who gathers all the wrapping trash in one bag, and know that everyone secretly accepts that Hallmark holiday movies have the same plot, and we're still going to watch them all and act totally surprised at the end. And speaking of wrapping trash, we have a nice display at Town Hall as to what folks can do with things that you want to discard from the holiday. If you're like me and your lights did not work this year, I'm going to let my husband know that he can put them in a special box next to the electronic disposal at Holly Hill. And happy holidays to everyone, regardless of what you're celebrating. Just make it happy, healthy, and best wishes for a prosperous new year.
Thank you. Very nice. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning. So I want to start by saying that the next step in the remediation of Western Middle School's athletic field is a public hearing scheduled for January 11th at 6 p.m. at Western. In advance of the hearing, the Board of Ed encourages you to email your comments regarding the planned action to cap the field and why this project is important to our community directly to the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection's Remediation Project Manager, Jeffrey Wilcox, at jeff.wilcox@ct.gov, and that's jeff.wilcox. So thank you for that. And after our meeting concludes, I'm looking forward to attending the Conservation Caboodle hosted by the town's Conservation Commission. The Caboodle is a network of over 30 local nonprofits whose missions embrace conservation and sustainability. As you know, I co-chair the Greenwich Sustainability Committee, which is thrilled to be a part of the Caboodle and a supporter of all the organizations in this network. And finally, Fred and I are definitely on the same page. It is only fitting to note that this is our last meeting of 2022, and to reflect on the year that is coming to a close and look forward to the resolutions the new year will bring. I think we, as a board, can be proud that whatever our differences, we have worked hard to maintain an air of civility and congeniality. Congeniality too. But I'm trying to say collegiality. It is often said that more unites us than divides us, and I'm confident we can continue in this spirit in the coming year. And as Fred mentioned, the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities has asked its members to sign on to a civility pledge. And I was going to encourage you to sign on behalf of Greenwich. You're already there, and we'll post it to the town website. So please accept my deepest appreciation. Thank you, and happy holidays to everyone.
Very nice, and thank you so much, and it's such an honor to serve with both of you. And you said the January 11th hearing is at 6 p.m. Thank you. And I also forgot to mention that I met here Saturday with some Greenwich residents who were hard at work at coming up with a nice logo for the town, and also some beautifying a couple of hills, one in Greenwich and one in Glenville. So more on that to come in the next 6 or 7 months, but some good stuff there. So thanks again, and we'll go on to just 2 items on old business. First up is Joe Siciliano and Dan Carlson with the proposed 2023 fee schedule.
So good morning, and thank you. Good morning. I'm going to turn this over to Dan. He's been following this trend since the last meeting. So Dan, you're on.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, Board of Selectmen. So just to give a brief background, so the 2023 proposed fee increases for the Parks and Rec Department was presented at the December 8th Board of Selectmen meeting as the first reading. And then, so for today, we are presenting the proposed fee increases as a second read and are looking for approval of the proposed changes. So before we turn it over to the Board of Selectmen for deliberation and discussion, there's a couple items we wanted to follow up and address. So the first follow-up, at the previous meeting, there was some discussion about the child annual park pass increase. This was brought up at the last meeting by Selectwoman Rabin with the comment that the increase from $10 to the proposed increase of $15 was too large for a year-over-year increase and could adversely impact families that are looking to utilize the beach passes. And so we did look into it. We did increase the beach passes in 2021 for children from $7 to $10. And so, you know, after that review, it does kind of make sense that the $10 to $15 could be a little bit too aggressive for the year. And so from our perspective, it would be amenable to maybe reduce that increase to about $12 to $13, you know, to kind of meet halfway, to still kind of meet with the inflation and the cost of the programming and everything, while still trying to reduce the impact for the families there. The second thing that we wanted to identify is we wanted to discuss the public comments that we received. So we did post the fee increases on November 29th for public review and comment. We received 2 public comments in that period. We sent those over to you this morning just for review. And another thing is many residents did review the fee increases, as it was the second most viewed document on the town website from December 5th through 11th with 246 views. So the first comment just had to do with, they actually proposed to increase the cart fees from the proposed $39 to $40, just to make, you know, splitting a cart with somebody at the golf course a little bit easier, rather than trying to figure out who owes the extra dollar or whatnot, which you know, was a good comment, but we actually took no action on that proposal. And then the second comment was a resident wanted to make sure that ferry rides for seniors are still covered under the beach pass, and we just wanted to clarify that they indeed are. So beach passes for senior residents are free, and the ferry rides are covered under that beach pass. And within the document of the proposed increases, you do see a senior fare for ferries. That is for non-residents, and we had a proposed increase from $7 to $8 for that. But again, for resident seniors, the beach passes are free, and therefore the ferry rides are free as well too for them. And with that, we could give it over to the Board of Selectmen for further comments.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for being so thorough and for listening to the feedback, and certainly to Lauren's suggestion. I think that's a really nice compromise. And I think it's very good, and the fact that we also put it, I think, in our community connections, and I haven't heard anything, and so if you only had 2 comments, although
I think people, when they got the broad email that was on the website, 240.
Could you please start the microphone, Mr. Siciliano?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think Dan already explained that there were, you know, somehow they, in communication, whether it was the community connections or the meeting that we had, there were 246 views of the fee schedule. So I think whatever we did to get it out there worked. It was the second most viewed document in that period at the time. So.
Yeah, and that was just through the 5th or the 11th. So we didn't get the data from the previous week. So they're, you know, assume there's even more views outside of that as well.
Well, that's terrific. Yeah, and I think everything is in line, and it matches with most towns, and probably favorable in most towns. Although I'm getting old, because I remember when that ferry ride was, what, about $1.50 or $2? 50 cents. Yeah, it's more of a statement on me than the fees. Any other?
I'm just going to say thank you for all the work that went into this. I'm going to quip. My late mother used to say, if you can't remember a year after you bought something what you paid for it, you didn't pay too much. And she was not a spender. And I'll just note that at the League of Women Voters holiday party, we had a trivia contest, and no one got the cost of the beach pass right. So it must be a bargain. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and I think it was the Greenwich delegation that got it wrong, just for the record.
Yeah, we had it right.
The absent are always guilty. So you have to find a word. All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to thank you, too, for doing a deeper dive into that specific line item, because it did stick out to me personally, and I really appreciate it. And I think especially families that have more than one child will appreciate it. And I'm comfortable whether it was 12 or 13. I don't know if you're going to make a statement now or...
So what we're hoping is that since we did the homework, you would make a proposal and so you're asking, would you have to make an amendment?
Okay.
So you can make a proposal, you get a second from the board, and then that'll be you'll set the new fee at either $12 or $13. So it's your call.
Okay, so Lauren Rabin, I motion that we change the proposed fee for the child beach pass from $15 to $12.
I second that.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you. So with that amendment, is there a motion to accept the fee schedule as amended?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
And thanks again to Parks and Rec to not only doing the work on this, but to listening to the community. And I think, as always, you got it right, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and happy holidays, everyone.
You too, Dan. Thank you. Okay, second and final item on old business is the Greenwich Fire Department's plan review fee schedule. Do we have Chief McHugh via Zoom? Or did he forget us?
He's on, he just has to be promoted.
And this is a second read.
Can you also join Chris Pratico too?
Good morning, Chief. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. We promote Chris also? I apologize. We have an event downstairs.
No,
going on
no,
right now.
no worries. I just saw your note now, so I apologize.
Morning.
Morning, Chris. Well, thank you so much for joining us for the second read. In the 2 weeks since you've last appeared before us, I have not heard anything negative, and I'll certainly ask see if my colleagues have. But to me, it seemed to make sense since we're one of the only towns that does not do this. And from what we heard, some of the builders who come to town are surprised that we don't do this. So I'm sure the BET will certainly support this. It's not affecting anybody else. So I'm okay with it, but I want to turn it over to my colleagues for their questions and comments.
I have nothing to add. Just thank you for all the work that went into this.
Yes, thank you as well. I think we did have a suggestion, so I don't know if there's anything that we need to look at an appeal process. So I don't know if you've documented that.
Yes, Chris spoke with about the appeal process for the alarm board with Karen Labella. So if you want to add on that, Chris.
So we want to do something similar to what the alarm ordinance board does as far as when they have to find people for false alarms. We want to see if we can use the appeals process and use them as a board where somebody could appeal the violation to the board. I spoke to the board chairman, Fred Brooks, and he said they'd be willing to look into helping us out with that, where that alarm review board would serve as an appeals board for fire code violation, fines, and so forth. just trying to iron out the final details.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And with that, if we gave them that added duty on the Alarms Appeals Board, would that require RTM approval?
I'm not sure about that.
That may be something we just may want to just double check to make sure because,
Is that the appeal process, Mr. Selectman?
yeah, just to make sure, maybe we'll ask the
Okay.
a town attorney or assistant town attorney, just when they get a moment to check into that. We certainly don't want to bypass anybody in the process.
Oh, I agree.
So,
We want everything done the right way, right, exactly.
absolutely. Well, again, and thank you again for bringing this up because this, I think it's very fair and certainly will
Yes.
help the town. It's fair and be very fair to you, for your department for all the time you put in, but also will help the town out with revenue. So we very much appreciate it.
We thank you very much.
Thank you.
So just in terms of process, how do we move forward? Do we need to amend what we have before us, or can we vote on what we have and then come back to it?
Yeah, I think we could vote on what is, because I think if I remember last time, and we could check the tape, I thought Chris was going to look into it, but we were going to go ahead with this and then come back with an appeals process. Unless the board wants to wait, I mean, I think we all agree this is a good thing. We could vote on it now, and then you could come back in 2 weeks and just say, hey, we looked into it, and here's what we could do for the appeals process, and then just vote on it then.
I think I'd rather vote on it as a package, if that's okay.
It's fine with me. Chris and Chief, if we put this off so we can get that nailed down, the appeals process, you'll have 3 yes votes here, but we just wanted to vote in one tight, clean package. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. If you could just maybe speak with Amina or Barbara whenever you get a chance in the coming days, and then this will be a quick vote next time.
And are we asking them for the process or asking if it's okay to have the alarm board appeals have this as an additional task? Like, I'm not sure what we're asking the attorney to look into.
Either one. I mean, we want to have an appeals process. If they've identified the Alarms Appeals Board, that's great. If Fred Burke says that they would be willing to do it. I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing. And so we'll get that nailed down and we'll have the exact process in 2 weeks. All right. Well, thank you, Chief.
All right,
Thank you,
cool.
Chris.
Thank you, guys. Happy holidays, everybody.
You too.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays.
You too?
Bye.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays. Okay. We have, I think, only one item under new business, and it's the maintenance dredging of Greenwich Harbor, the federal navigation project, and the letter to Jim Himes, which I signed. And I want to turn it over to Select Person Janet Stone McGuigan.
So thanks, Fred. That is fabulous that you've signed the letter. I'll just very briefly update for the purpose of updating our audience as well. I don't think I needed to actually bring this as an agenda item. You could have signed it, but because I'm asking you to do it, as people understand, Freedom of Information Act means we can't conduct business outside of a public meeting. So that's why it's an agenda item, but it's all good news. The Army Corps of Engineers has given the town of Greenwich the green light to go ahead and apply for permits to dredge our harbor. That part is fantastic. Now the challenge is we need to find funding to do that, and we need about $500,000 to do the tests to make sure we know how to safely dispose of the dredge material. So that's what this letter is about, is to ask if we can maybe access some federal funding to do that.
Thank you, Janet. And yes, it's actually good that we're just bringing this up now publicly because it's been something that's been debated for several years, and it's one of the first items 3 years ago we were talking about. And I will say that Joe Siciliano was pretty confident 3 years ago that we weren't in violation, and there was a lot of pushback against that. And when I look back at it now, he was right. But Joe also was being very open-minded too, because he was against it because he didn't think we were in violation. And I was in that camp, and then as when we got through with the pandemic hit, and funding was available all over the place, we started to focus a little bit more on that. And I wasn't so sure how many people would come, if there'd be a mass rush from out of towners to take up spots that maybe would have pushed out residents. But it's all good now. So this is a very important first step, but there's still much work to do. So it's welcome news, and the congressman should be getting the letters shortly. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, lots of good things on tap. Public comment period.
We have no one signed up.
Okay. Appointments and nominations.
Actually, this is I guess a clarifying question. I would need like a little 5-minute break to get the information off of my other computer. And I thought maybe we could do it after our special session later, but it's not an agenda item, I don't think, for our special session later to take a vote on any appointments or nominations.
Could we amend the special? Barbara Schellenberg, our town attorney.
Hi. You can amend, put another, you can amend the agenda for a regular meeting to put another item on. You can't do it for a special meeting. So you would have to do it for this meeting if you want to do it today.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So that's a good clarification. So we already have it on there, so we could take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be right back. Thank you for letting me have a brief hiatus. And I had to deal with an eviction notice being delivered, so that's what stalled me.
Oh.
I guess they deliver them to our office. So, interesting. Anyhow, so Lauren Rabin, I motion that we nominate Martin Kagan in the position of R1. It's actually moving up to the Historic District Commission for a term ending October 31st, 2023.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Lauren Rabin, I motion that we appoint James Butel as a regular member to the Housing Authority, aka Greenwich Communities, for a term ending July 31st, 2027.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
And finally, Lauren Rabin, I motion that we nominate Mark Perry as an alternate position A1 to the Planning Zoning Board of Appeals for a term ending October 31st, 2023.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you so much for going and getting that and dealing with that eviction. Okay, thanks so much. Seeing no other comments or hands up, is there a motion to adjourn?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thanks everybody, and thank you, Jenny and Ken, and happy holidays, everybody.